I see Stefon Diggs on Twitter. Talk
Nope.
about right now in first take. But RG3 like had some take where he was like, Stefon Diggs has been very essential to Josh Allen's success. And since Stefon Diggs has gotten to Buffalo, basically turned around Josh Allen's career. He's been one of the quote unquote elite quarterbacks in this league. Definitely does some dumb things, a lot of dumb things. But somebody had made the point where, like, I guess some Bills fan would be like, we need Stefon Diggs, and Stefon Diggs is like, you sure about
that? Hey, he's right.
It really does feel like Stefon Diggs wants to be the hell out of Buffalo. Maybe
here's the problem.
Maybe it's just because it is Buffalo, Leroy, but he really does seem like, I feel like for the last 2 off seasons we've had Stefon Diggs being like, can I please get out of here?
Let me break it down for you. Throughout the history of the quarterback wide receiver relationship, most of the praise has gone to the quarterback, even though said quarterback doesn't become said quarterback until said wide receiver gets there. And so there's always a bit of a, like, I won't say it's against the quarterback, but against the narrative of what makes that team good, right? When you like the quarterback, you complain about not having any weapons. When he finally gets the weapons, you go, oh, now he can be the quarterback he's always been. And you don't necessarily give that credit to the wide receiver. I give you another one. You don't remember back in the day, Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss.
Yep.
Right? It happens all the time.
The one I always think about with hostility is McNabb T.O. That's the one I always think about. Where, like, it really doesn't feel like they had a good relationship, but it was obviously very successful.
Right. And so
T.O. had a lot. T.O. was great.
Right. But so from that standpoint, let's not act like this is anything new. Like, I just think that when it comes to those situations, fans will always think we can go find another Stefon Diggs, but we can't replace our precious quarterback. But your precious quarterback without weapons, we've seen. And I don't think you've been paying attention. And that we've had this all the time. This is not the first time this happens, right? And so to hear this, it's just funny because we act like this is like something new.
It's not new, but it is. Like, they seem to have a very, I don't think it's a bad relationship. They've definitely seemed like they've had conflict, but it's very public. Every time it feels like Stefon Diggs is disgruntled in Buffalo, it's always like, you guys are not giving me enough credit for what we do here.
Right. Because guess what? The second he got there, they became relevant. The quarterback became relevant.
Yes.
That's a fact. But if you ask anybody, they've gone as far as to say Josh Allen turned it around when Daboll was his coach. Daboll was his coach, right?
Yes.
Right. You see what I'm saying? They do everything other than, and then I'll give you the opposite side of that, right? If you don't like Tua, what do you say about Tua? Oh, Tua's only doing this because he got Tyreek Hill. But nobody would dare say that about Josh Allen, even though it's more factual with Josh Allen. Because Josh Allen got a bunch of years without Tyreek Hill. Without Stefon Diggs.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting about that, though, is Tyreek Hill, even though whatever reasons he's out of Kansas City, mostly money, but he has done nothing but support Tua. Has deferred and deflected all credit, even though everybody already gives him the credit. Would that be different if Tyreek didn't get the credit he thought he deserved? I don't know. But
some would say now that Patrick Mahomes won a championship, that the role that Tyreek Hill played wasn't as big as maybe he thought it was. Right?
It was huge.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
But I never thought I was going to have to see a boring Chiefs Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Woo.
Sucks.
Woo. Yeah.
Intangible throws down there.
Yep.
Like Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be side arming and no looking.
Right.
This was the tweet, by the way, for our YouTube audience and Twitch audience. You guys can watch, by the way, Miami 56 WQM. So this was responding to RG3 and the Peaky Pirate. Oh man, what a ridiculous app.
My favorite part is,
well, how is he a Bills fan?
Does Josh benefit from having a top tier receiver? Yes. Is he essential to his success? No. And Diggs hits
hey, you know what? Listen, whatever you think about Stefon Diggs, that response is hilarious because you can picture him sitting down watching TV, eating some chicken wings, going, you sure about that player?
it looks like his profile pic.
It looked like the kid saying it. but I just think people really think that. Like they forget what Josh Allen was before Stefon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, like, I don't know if Stefon Diggs wants more, but like, yeah. And yeah, man. Like, where would the Bills here?
It's just one of those things that's funny about with him that he seems to call out the discrepancy of how important he is to his quarterback more than any other receiver that I see in the league. It's not done in this day and age. In this day and age, I don't see
right. But let's be clear. It usually happens with a high profile guy like this. You see what I'm saying? And so, whereas you don't see it that often, just look at the examples in the past.
Kind of reminds me of like, you know how you always bring up, like, it reminds me of like Seahawks Legion of Boom calling out Russ. Like we all were like, oh, Russ is an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Best deep ball, let Russ cook.
And they were like,
everybody was kind of just like,
you ain't winning because of Russ. We ain't winning because of Russ. Right. And what really broke it up, if you want to be honest, is Pete Carroll trying to throw a 1 yard pass instead of giving it to the beast. Right. Because if I got a yard and I got a choice between Russell Wilson throwing a 1 yard pass and turn around and handing the football off, I'm handing the football off every time. And most coaches would. So, yeah.
Listen, I'm all for a little Bills unrest in this offseason.
Yeah, but I mean, remember last year, dude? This is like remnants of like there's trouble in paradise.
Look, but it did seem like there's trouble. That's what makes look, Marcos, that's what makes your very, very, and I cannot stress this enough.
Yeah.
You're very negative off season.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you have been a rain cloud of pain in the ass.
Dude.
But I will say, it has some justification, not validity, because of if you didn't get the Bills last year,
right?
When the hell are you going to get them? It was all set up for the Dolphins.
You're gonna have another chance because this ain't going away.
Nope.
This ain't going away. And here's what's going to happen. You ready? You ready? Here's what's going to happen. The Bills are going to draft a couple of wide receivers. Now, they ain't going to be good as Stefon Diggs. And they need a whole lot of other help because they left half of their defense go. So, here. The way the defense was last year in Buffalo and some of the guys that you let go, right? It puts more pressure on that offense to score. Now we'll see how this thing works out when your defense is not as good. Because that's how these things usually start going south. It's not that your star ends up playing bad. It's just that more is going to be required of him in that offensive unit because your defense won't be as good. And we might have some of that down here in Miami waiting for these guys to come back from injury, even though they added a couple of nice pieces, we still are in like an area of unknown where we didn't really have that because we knew who was going to be lining up on that front seven for the Dolphins.
Speaking of the Dolphins and wide receivers, a little bit of a buzz yesterday about a possible receiver, not Odell Beckham, that the Dolphins might be looking at. We'll tell you about that coming up next. Wow. Wasn't prepared. Everybody in the chat was going nuts because as we were talking about the Stefon Diggs story. Breaking news!
Whoa!
Get to our headlines brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Supercenter. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto.
We know trucks.
Adam Hefta reports the Buffalo Bills are finalizing a trade to send 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans.
What?
Yep. Wow.
Damn.
Whew.
So they definitely gonna draft a wide receiver.
Man.
Wow.
Wait, so they got rid of both of them. They got rid of 1 and 2. Because Gabe is gone.
Yep, Gabe Davis
is gone.
Gabe Davis is gone.
Uh-oh. We'll see.
Ian Rappaport says the Bills are getting it for exchange of picks, including a 2025 second-round pick.
Yeah, that's essentially
So nothing for this year?
That's all the Bills got, huh?
They're swapping picks.
Yeah. Texans receive Diggs, a 2024 6th, and a 2025 5th. The Bills receive a 2025 second-round pick via Minnesota. So it wasn't even the Texans' pick.
Fleeced.
Wow.
Hey.
Man.
Sometimes, and I'm going to just say this. Sometimes you deal with the nonsense because you know what's best for your team. Right? Now, I'm not saying that Josh Allen is not a good quarterback. I'm not saying that. But I have documentation of what he was before Stefon Diggs and what he was with Stefon Diggs. And I think you make that work. Right?
Man.
All right. Wow. It's funny. We just had this conversation.
That's
must
crazy.
Be listening to us, right?
That's crazy.
Same segment. Not even same day.
In the
same
break.
segment.
That was crazy. Well, he must have known something.
I'll tell you what, that guy who tweeted must be feeling it right now. He must be
Oh,
like,
man.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
They must hate. What was that guy? The Peaky Pirate?
The Peaky
The
Pirate.
Peaky Pirate.
Dude.
Hey, you can't go to Bill's Mafia, dude.
Who's that guy from the Cubs? Bart.
Bartman?
He's the new Bartman, dude.
Bill's
Wow.
Bartman. Hey,
Bills.
I'm telling you what.
Well,
And here's what you want me to tell you what the story's going to be? Can I say this? Here's what the story's going to be. Well, he had the same receivers for a while. It's going to take him a while to get acclimated to his new receivers. Right? You're going to hear that at the beginning of the year.
Man.
But at no point in time is anybody going to ever admit, yeah, we probably should have just tried to make that work.
Well, we'll see. Look, you wonder too with front offices, and hey, you see what Patrick Mahomes did last year.
He ain't Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
dude, you got to be honest with yourself.
I understand. I agree with you, but I wonder if that's because you see him with what the Chargers. You know, they cleaned house, and I get it. They got a new coach.
Yeah, but they didn't even make the playoffs with what they had. So them saying we're getting rid of 2 of our starting receivers says what? You ain't give up a Super Bowl contender.
Man.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
hey. All I'm going to say is this. Sometimes in life, you got to bite the bullet and you got to go head on and be in uncomfortable situations. That's life, right? Everything ain't always going to feel good. Everybody in that building ain't going to get along. But here's what you do know. At every point during this process with Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen and the organization, no matter what he said or done, he's been a professional and gone on the field and performed. That has to count for something. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that they are willing to move on from production. I get a player that is a malcontent and doesn't produce on the field. But a guy that basically was, I'm going to say it, your quarterback wasn't any good until he got there.
Facts.
And you're basically saying we can find another Stefon Diggs, which
I'm curious to see what the odds are going to be after this comes back, because you got to imagine that. I wonder if
he lost his top two.
Yeah, because they lost a lot. I mean, they already lost a lot.
And that doesn't even talk about their defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Hey, can I just say this? Moves like this cost people jobs. What they say, Marcos? Them streets gonna need a body. Them streets gonna need a body. If this don't work out, is this a move you ready to make right now? Right? Think about it. Tobin, I put you in that position as Bill's front office. Is this a move you ready to make right now for what you got for him? Because let me add some facts to this. Your quarterback never even was considered an MVP race until Stefon Diggs got there.
No, I mean, like, look, if you're the Bills, the only way you're looking at this is like, look, if he wanted new money, he's going to be 31 in the middle of the season. But I mean, look, the dude still had 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. I mean, he ain't no slouch.
Again, we'll see, because sometimes you're sold a bill of goods on your quarterback, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that you start making assumptions about your quarterback you shouldn't be making. It doesn't mean he's not good.
Look, the way I would say, if I was a Bills fan, I'm going to be optimistic about this. And God, I hate doing this for them. But you could look at it like the Ravens did last year, where they basically, you treat him like he is, which is basically he's Lamar, even though he says he doesn't want to play that way. He's a great running quarterback. You load up. James Cook had a really great year last year. Running is your identity, and maybe they get a Zay Flowers type talent in the draft, and that's the way they facilitate it. But that dude, he is willy-nilly with the football.
Can I say this? And I mean this. Lamar Jackson is a better passer of the football than Josh Allen. So you're asking a guy who doesn't quite have the talent.
He's definitely less reckless.
Huh?
And he's definitely less reckless.
You mean more reckless? No, Lamar is less reckless.
Yes.
Right. So you can take those chances with a quarterback you know is going to make good football plays.
But
right?
Maybe the thought is with Joe Brady, maybe their thought is, all right, we're going to play boring and we're going to try and run it down everybody's throat. And we have his ability to be a great runner. And then if we have some open looks, maybe that's how they go about it.
Tobes, you're forgetting one aspect of this big picture here.
Yes.
That in order to play that way, you also need a Baltimore Ravens defense.
Yes.
That's going to keep you in every game, regardless of how putrid you are on the offensive side of the ball. Okay? Now, your first act of the season was to let half your defense walk.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting rid of some of your offensive weapons. If you can't stop anybody and you're trying to play ugly offensively, how the hell is that going to look?
Man, what a day, huh?
Hey, baby, look.
Really didn't see that coming.
Hey, wait. Didn't see it coming. We were sitting there talking about it like
That was
never
weird.
happened. Never
That was
happened.
weird. That was weird.
That was weird. Hey, that's never happened to us, right?
Not
Not like
is-
that.
That was pretty weird.
That never happens.
The Dolphins choose
All
to
I
exercise
remember is
their option.
wait. Wouldn't it be
They already
something?
did that.
Would it be something if old Peaky Blinders would respond? We'll see.
Oh, we gotta see. We gotta see if the Peaky Pirate said anything.
Peaky Pirate.
Immediately now.
Because no, I'm saying if he would have responded like that, and then he got traded right after those comments.
All right, let's see. Peaky Pirate.
He responds simply, I guess we saw. I guess we saw.
We ain't seen nothing because we ain't playing no damn football right now, Marcos. So we
True.
ain't seen nothing.
Peaky Pirate is not tweeted.
Oh, come on, you bum. Come on.
By the way,
You're
the
supposed
Peaky
to be-
Pirate strangely looks like Dan Day.
Oh.
Come on.
Well,
Peaky
Dan
Pirate.
second
Wait. Peaky Pirate, he needs to respond, right?
I would think so.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, people are going to hold him responsible. If not, please let me be the one to begin this witch hunt for Peaky Pirate.
You want to find the Peaky Pirate?
I just like to cause trouble.
But
So,
you think fans are like that with other like guys on the team? Because I bet you there's some people down here that believe that you could put any quarterback in and Tyreek Hill would do what he's done.
Hmm?
Right? Like whoa.
That's the
What
Peaky
is the-
Pirate.
Whoa, creepy. Dude. He
I'm gonna tell you that-
he looks like Highlander. Like he's like,
Pirate does look like he is about swashbuckling. I'm surprised he has so many football takes.
or he looks like a man witch.
Be
I
great
would
at the
call
pirate.
I would call him a warlock, but he's dressed like a witch.
Does the Peaky Pirate talk like a Peaky Blinder and a pirate?
Dude, I'm can I just say this? I'm a little like
You're shook.
I'm shook. I'm shook how we had this conversation 3 seconds ago. And then we go to break and come back, breaking news.
Tell you what, the Texans got hell of a receiving core now.
Yeah. Wait. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hmm?
Uh-oh. You think Buffalo goes after Odell Beckham?
I don't think so. It doesn't seem to make it seems like they would go younger, right?
I guess. I listen.
Guys, he doesn't want to go.
Look, can I
And
let me
that
ask this question. And here's where we have to be careful with how we treat our players, right? Does Josh Allen seem like the type of quarterback to facilitate the youth movement to what they need to do? I don't know. You see
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying? Because
We don't know.
we're making the assumption that he is now Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Sean Manning, Peyton Manning, and all these veteran quarterbacks that can run the offense and get everybody where they need to be on the fly. Does he seem like that type of guy?
I don't know, man. That's going to be a big test for him for sure. It definitely is.
Right.
We'll,
Drew Brees. We know the quarterbacks. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. You know those veteran quarterbacks that ran the offense that when they had young guys on the team could get them in the right spots, that could get them playing the right way. Is Josh Allen that guy?
Crazy.
Because that's what you're going to have.
We'll get to the Dolphins news, by the way. I didn't get to the Dolphins receiver.
What?
News.
Franchise tag. Franchise tag.
No,
franchise
stop.
tag. I'm just trying to, strike while the iron's hot.
Who? Franchise tag who? Tua?
Franchise
They
tag.
can't franchise.
They can't franchise him. He's in his 5th year.
You never know.
The thing,
And you got to franchise him before like March.
if you're gonna do the bit, the thing you want,
Yeah.
you negative bastard,
What's that?
is you want contract negotiations broke off.
There you
Contract
go.
negotiations
Perfect.
broke off.
Wait. Listen.
Thank you for fixing my
Don't do his bit for him, you
Oh, it's
clown.
good. Pretty
What
good.
are you doing?
I love a bit.
I know, but you can't do other people's bit.
Even
If
a
he
bit I
goes
disagree with.
No, here's what we do. Here's what we do on this show.
Yep.
He screws up the bit, we bury him.
No.
That's what we do. That's what we
He's
do.
right.
We don't help him through his bit.
You don't get bit training wheels. You
Yes,
bum.
no.
Contract negotiation.
Too late. No.
This guy's
Too
cool.
late. We got look. Now you try to see. This is why Josh Allen can't do it. The perfect example right here. You try to help him through his bit.
The Buffalo Bills. We were talking about Stefon Diggs' tweet in the 10 o'clock hour. Mere minutes into the break, right after we're done talking about it, he gets dealt to the Houston Texans for a 2025 second round pick, which is the Minnesota Vikings pick. Which I guess people are saying, hey, that'll be a pretty good pick because Minnesota will probably stink this year, but still not a pick till next year for your star wide receiver. So he is off, and obviously is a very interesting wrinkle into the AFC. Very curious to see what the Bills are going to do in this draft, and very curious to see what the Miami Dolphins are doing in their draft too. Although I will say, seems like every mock I go to for the Dolphins, it's trenches, dude.
Yeah.
It's either offensive or defensive line. What would you prefer?
As it should be. As it should be. They made a lot of moves to.
I think Marcos. First of all, take the best dude, right? Like I'm not like married to having to get a defensive tackle. But if you told me even Steven,
I mean,
both these guys are gonna have the same career. I think defense. They signed Kendall Lamb yesterday, so they have their their Teron Armstead insurance policy, which is great because he did a good job last year. I don't find the need at offensive line to be that desperate. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think it's desperate that you have to go get one in the first round.
Here, let's all be clear. We said the same thing when they drafted Christian Wilkins, and he ended up being a beast.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say that defense, I would go defense first. But here's the thing. Here's why the draft has to be fluid. Because if somebody falls to you that you had graded well above where you're picking, I think sometimes you got to just make the adjustment and pick that guy. You know what I mean? If you have a top 5 guy or top 10 guy grade that you have graded and he falls to you, then it becomes best player. And I think it has to, the draft has to be fluid because you're going to end up with a better player. And he might not be the position that you were looking for. But if you keep filling your team, and I believe this, if every year in the draft you filled your team with the best player available, you're going to have a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, regardless of position. If you draft a guy, there's going to be a bunch of teams that draft a quarterback that's going to get probably maybe a second or third round quarterback, but they draft them in the first round. That's not good either.
Everybody's also saying it's a good receiver draft. I know it's not like the most pressing, but the Dolphins are very clearly interested in an upgrade at receiver. So the news that hit yesterday was, we know the Odell Beckham thing. The Dolphins also apparently, this first was reported by a Pittsburgh Steelers reporter, Mark Caboli, but he was saying that apparently Tyler Boyd from the Cincinnati Bengals, he had a visit with the Steelers and that the negotiations didn't go great. So he's, on to other visits, and that he has gotten interest from a bunch of teams, the Chiefs, Chargers, Lions, 49ers, and Miami Dolphins. So, yeah, he's the third guy. Like, he's the third wheel to that great trio of Boyd, Higgins, and Chase in Cincinnati. But it is interesting that the Dolphins are very clearly looking for a pretty strong upgrade for that third receiver spot, Leroy.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see where it goes for that. Now, are the Dolphins in a position? No. I mean, they have to hope that they can get a sweetheart deal. And that's kind of what they're hoping with Beckham too. Like, hey, we're not going to pay you close to the 15 you made last year, and Boyd made over 10 million the last year too.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, look, it'd be a very nice move. It's a nice complementary piece to the speed that you have to have a guy like that. But it does make you wonder, with all these guys they're looking at, Leroy, is it crazy to think the Dolphins would go receiver in the draft?
It depends on where. It depends on what round.
I'm
So
saying
again,
first. I'm saying at 21.
No. And again, this is where it becomes difficult, because if you have a defensive lineman graded in the second round, and all of the defensive linemen that you thought were graded in the first round are taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to draft what you deem the second rounder in the first round, because now what you expected of him before the draft and what you expected out of him after the draft is different, because now he's a first rounder. And that's not the player's fault. That's your fault for drafting him up that high. So if there's an offensive lineman that you deem worthy of that pick, then go ahead on and take him.
Here's the thing, though. The one thing I'd say, I think fundamentally what you're saying is fine with the building of a team, and I get it. But it is Mike McDaniel's first round pick. Why aren't you gonna you're not gonna let the mad genius peruse the toy the toy aisle?
No, because here's what would suck. Here's what would suck. That having another offensive weapon does what to this team? Right?
More options.
No.
Swiss Army knife, dude.
There's only one football, dude. What the hell are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Texans are going and they're adding more weapons. They got weapons up the wazoo, and they just added another one.
They don't have weapons up the wazoo. They got one wide receiver that they drafted that hit big.
No, they had. I mean, they had two receivers last year with was it Tank Dell? What did he have, 7 touchdowns?
Yeah, but he's a rookie, right? Tank Dell was a rookie.
And then Nico Collins was awesome last year.
Nico Collins was awesome.
Now they're adding Stefon Diggs. Okay. And they also got the intangibles wonder at tight end. I mean, they got weapons up the wazoo. Just saying, like, those rules around the. If they're going to be looking at, these old receivers, an old dog,
let me ask.
Why not just go to the pound and get yourself a puppy that can bite? You know, little teeth on it.
Just keep adding offense. You're right. You're right.
Date sounds right. They also have Brevin Jordan from the U.
Oh, they do.
Weapons up the wazoo.
What do you think's further?
They're in a different place though, because guess what?
Yeah, they got a rookie quarterback.
And their defense is awesome.
No, they're in a different place because they got a quarterback on the cheap skis. That's what you do.
And a defense that was really good.
But instead of having to haggle with these old over the hill, long in the tooth wide receivers, you let Mike McDaniel, if this is his organization, and this man likes to operate.
So what are you? Let me ask you a question. What are you going to do about your defense? And what are you going to? No. What? Here's because here's what happens, right? What are you going to say if your defense starts getting torched all year because you can't get any pressure, and you had an opportunity to get a guy who can rush the passer?
Well, here's the thing, though.
Please answer.
I am going to answer your question. Don't.
Here's how you answer your question.
I'm not gonna duck the question. Here's what I would say, though. Sometimes you have to look at things a little bit like a lost cause.
See what I'm saying, Marcos? I didn't want this.
No, just listen to me. Hear me out.
No, I didn't want this.
Here's my thinking. The Miami Dolphins defense, even if you got a stud defensive tackle, he's a rookie. What's he going to do? You still don't have your 2 pass rushers, maybe by the middle of the season. Who knows with recoveries these days,
right? You said week 1 of 2 weeks ago. No, Marcos. Roll the dice. Marcos.
Roll the dice, though.
Marcos. -1 for making. You are a liar. You are a fraudulent radio guy.
What you need?
Marcos.
I'm not a fraudulent radio guy.
Marcos. Did we not get in an argument a couple of weeks ago about them being ready for week 1 because they were ahead of schedule? Did we not? And now, 2 weeks later, to make your new point, you say they might not be ready to.
I have very broad views. Like sometimes, because
another -1.
You have to have -1. You have to have a contingency plan. So I'm looking at it like this.
Fraudulent.
Hear me out.
Fraudulent radioing right here.
Let's just say the recovery does something. What if there's the dreaded setback, right? And now, so you're basically going into this year on defense with one arm tied behind your back because your pass rushers, they're hobbled.
Mark,
So
you have to find humor in this.
You
that
got
this man
to
just took the totally opposite take to make his new take. To have his new take.
You got to soup up the offense.
What do you think? Wait, can I ask you a question? Did you think I had forgotten about that?
No. I understand why you bring it up. I understand. I'm not going to deny that I said, well, what if they're ahead of schedule? You can't deny science. But also, what about setbacks? And so, let's just say there is a setback. What you do if you have a defense that's already got its one hand tied behind your back, right? Or in this case, Achilles. Why not just really soup up the offense with even more weapons?
Because those teams don't win.
They're going to win, dude.
Oh, my goodness. No, they don't, dude. No, they don't.
I'm telling you.
If you don't have a deep, dude, if you can't get after a quarterback, you're going to be relying on every game to be 40 to 35. You ain't going to win like that.
You have a Tyreek Hill, okay?
Is he going to play Russian?
How many more? No, hear me out. How many more years does he have playing at this level, right? Very expensive. And also, there's always some drama that's always lingering around the cheetah. And then you have Jalen Waddle, who's got to show that he's got the durability. So all I'm saying is, what's wrong with a little insurance policy, baby? Let Mike McDaniel go cook with another weapon.
Do you understand? And let me explain this to you. Do you understand the fan outrage? If your defense gives up 30 and you drafted a wide receiver with that first round pick, do you I'm telling you, I am telling you now, right? That they're gonna want everybody fired.
No.
Yeah, what? If you don't draft the defensive guy, your defensive guy give up 40 and you got a third wide receiver?
We'll go beef shopping later. We got a second round pick, baby.
You can't. Listen, do you understand what? Oh my goodness. Here, you knucklehead. This is a very deep draft for receivers. You do not have to get a receiver in the first round. It's not as deep for offensive linemen. So if you had to choose which one you would take first, it depends on if one of those offensive linemen fall to you that you deem worthy of a first rounder. And then you can get a wide receiver that can do all the things you're talking about in the second, third, or fourth round. I'm telling you have to be kidding me right now.
I'm not kidding you.
I see like a child, right? I see a child in McDonald's and he's yelling. Actually, you know what? Let's make it Target.
No,
he's yelling at
I got you, Marcos. Here's what it's like. Yeah. I used to go to Publix with my daughter, right? During Thanksgiving. And she used to see the little gummy bears, but they were for the fruitcake. And she wanted the pretty gummy bears. And I'm arguing with her, telling her, those aren't the gummy bears you eat. They're nasty. Let's go to the candy aisle and get some gummy bears over here. And we would argue in the front of Publix. I want those gummy bears. So,
did you get gummy bears though?
No. I said, I ought to get these gummy bears and make you eat them all.
Dude, just free your mind a little bit, all right?
My mind is free. I'm free. I'm free. What are you talking about? You're the one that's being a nincompoop right now.
I'm not being a nincompoop. I'm just saying, what if Jalen Phillips and what if Bradley Chubb aren't ready?
Do you understand how the draft works? Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
This draft will be deep at wide receiver. That means you can get a quality receiver in the second and third round. You don't have to invest a first round pick on a wide receiver.
I mean, like, what if?
But in contrast, it might not be that deep for offensive linemen or defensive linemen. That means that if there's one available with your pick in the first round, you got to get one because you might not have an opportunity to get a quality one in the second and third round. That's how the draft works.
Quality schmality, dude. If you can get a star at 21 because it got pressed down by all the QB picks, you got to pounce.
There's only 3 wide receivers that are going in the top 15 picks. There's only 3. The 2 LSU wide receivers and Marvin Harrison. That's it. And you might get the one kid out of Washington. I can't think of his name. Starts with an African name or something like that. I can't. No, it is. Watch. Pull it up, Margos.
You can pull it up during the break. We got to take a break. But first, Leroy,